Video, I'm going to be showing you how to use the collection of objects inside a class. So that's the whole idea. Let me use one of the examples from our prior classes before. We had looked at the student example. So this was how we did the student. So the student inherited from the person class. The student inherited from the person class. And then we had created another one called as faculty as part of your lab. So this is what we had done before. The one area that we had not touched upon was course. Okay, course you can think of as the curriculum catalog. So the course will have an ID, course will have a title, credit hours, okay, credit hours, and then we'll have a description. And this is what a course is all about. You can think of this as what is in the catalog. So there has to be a way for us to connect the student with a course. A student can enroll in multiple courses in a given semester. So for this reason, in order to connect these two classes, that is where enrollment comes in. The process of enrollment. Okay, so the process of enrollment is going to connect the student and the course. So enrollment, if you think of enrollment as a class, a student can have multiple enrollments. So that is the idea. So you will have multiple enrollments for a single student. A single student will have multiple enrollments. So let's think about what can be in each enrollment. An enrollment will show that the student has signed up for a course. The course he signed up for, the date, and what is the status. These are the three things that the enrollment is going to have, the enrollment class. Remember, this course is a class, right? Or in this particular situation, we are going to be actually having an object of course inside enrollment. And then we are going to have a bunch of enrollments inside the student. So there is course inside enrollment, a reference to the course inside enrollment, and then a bunch of enrollments make up the student, will be part of the student class. So the reason why I want you to think about it is like in this situation, we have to use a collection, because so we are going to use a collection called list. Okay, it's going to be a list of enrollments. So we are going to add list of enrollments inside the student. I have created the course and the enrollment classes just to speed up this video. Let's take a look. So let's first look at the course. Just like how I said, we have ID, title, description, credit hours, and modality. Modality means like online versus in person. You can like default it to a value. I've created one constructor because I don't want to create like dummy courses. So I want to like make sure that anytime anyone tries to create a course, they have to give all of this information. The description is the only thing that's optional. So this is for 1050, you will have an entry. If you think of it as a database, you will have an entry in the database called course, and then all these will be part of that. And then you would have one entry for 1025, course number 1025. You would have one for Java course. You would have one for C#. You would have one for art class, sculptures, engineering. Each one of the course unique numbers will have an entry, and that is how you want to think about it. If you go into program.cs, I have created 5 courses like this. So we have created a bunch of courses. Now we just have to connect the course. I also have one student here. This student probably is interested in taking the 1150 course. How do we go about doing that? So that is where we come into the enrollment class. Here's the enrollment class, similar to what I explained right now from the whiteboard. We need a course object, date of enrollment, and status. That is the bare minimum. So I have course enrolled, which is a course is the class that we are using. And so this is an object. So we have course enrolled and it is auto implemented. We have date, time. Okay. And then we have status. So, and then here I have said basically the status is any time that they create a new enrollment, the status is going to be enrolled. So I have like two constructors here. One is where you can send the date time, where the other one is where you just assume the registration is happening today. So simple, right? So the course is by itself. Enrollment has a course object. And now we are going to go to the student and we are going to create a list of enrollments. So let's say this person wants to, if student 1 wants to enroll in 2 courses, the list will have 2 entries for 2 enrollments, enrollment in course 1, enrollment in course 2. So let us see how to do that. So you use list and then here you have to say what is the type of list we are creating. Are we creating integer list? Are we creating string list? Are we creating a course list? Are we creating an enrollment list? What is it? So this can be a simple variable type or it can be an object. So both are possible. So for us, we are trying to create a list of enrollments. Okay. So public data type, name of the enrollment list. That is my object name. So anytime these have to be created as objects. The new keyword, new list, enrollment. So this means as soon as somebody creates a student object or they try to create an object for a student, this list will be available. It won't have any data in it. So it is up to us to add. Okay. So this is a generic. So in order for you to be able to use it, you have to have the systems.collection.generic. That is essential because only then the code will, your compiler will understand what list means. Okay. Enrollment is the class I created. So list is the systems.collection class that's available for us to use. Okay. So let's take a peek into the list class. Well, it's slow. Okay, let's forget it. So I can just go over some of the methods we have. So we are trying to create a connection between the student. I have a student, I have the course. How do I connect the student S1 to the course C1? Okay, for that we have to have a method inside the student to enroll the student in a class. So we can call that as register or something. So I'm adding a method, public void register. So the goal, so when I say register, I need to know what course I'm registering for. So that is the input. So here I would just say enrollment list.add. Okay, so I have to create an enrollment here. So first let's create the enrollment class. So I want to create an enrollment, E equal to new enrollment of course. So I take this course and create an enrollment. When I create an enrollment, I can set a couple things, right? I can either give, I have to give the course number or the course information, and either I can assume today's date or I can actually specify the date that I want to create this enrollment on. So for simplicity, let's leave it that way. So I created an enrollment. I want to add this enrollment to my list for the student. So the student already has access to the list of enrollments. So you just have a method called add and then you give the object enrollment object. So again, I want you to think about this is a list. So this is the list. Enrollment list is this whole box. So we are adding one single enrollment. So you create the enrollment, add to the list. You create an enrollment, add to the list. Okay, so I created an enrollment. To create an enrollment, I need to know what course we are enrolling in. So, and then the date of enrollment, the status is going to be set to enrolled. So once I create that entry, I have to actually add it to the student. That is the way we link it. Enrollment in a course to the student. Only by doing this are we linking those two together. Okay, so this enrollment list is inside the student. Enrollment list is inside the student. Each enrollment list item will be one enrollment, right? There will be many enrollments for the student. So you create the enrollment first, saying what course you want, then add it to the student's enrollment list. And then that will create the connection between the student and the course. Okay, so that is how we did that. So let us add one more for dropping a course. So, well, we don't want to like think about all the complicated situations of dropping a course. We just want to like make it simple. So again, you have to create an enrollment. So when you create an enrollment, you're just creating an object based on the course, right? And then you take this object and then give it to the enrollment list and say remove from the list. Remove the object. So the reason why we are using list is because it is so friendly. All the methods are available to you. You can like step through it. You can remove, you can add, you can modify. So there is like absolutely a lot of help available already. So let me show you how to step through the list and show all the enrolled courses. So let's say display enrolled courses for the student. So if I want to like go through the list of enrollment and just show you each and every course, how would I go about doing that? So I would just say for each is the statement, it's a new statement. For each, think about it, for each object in collection, okay? Our object is enrollment. In collection. So what this means is each enrollment inside the enrollment list, give me that, and then let me make these changes on it. Console.writeLine. I just want to like say e.enrollment dot course enrolled, enrollment dot enroll date, and enrollment dot status. Those are the three things I want to display. So let us make it a little better here. So I can't, so let's think about it for a second here. Course enrolled is of type course. It's an object. We can't display the entire object. Let's just display the title. So I'm displaying the enrollment, the one object enrollment, the course enrolled object inside the enrollment object, and the title of that course. Then I'm getting the enrollment date and the status. So that is what happens. We can give like a title. Okay. So I have display enroll courses, I have register course, I have drop a course. So then I can, let's first test this. So we have the course, we have a student. We just have to like tie them together. So let us do S1 dot. So the thing we are looking for is register, and I have to say C1. Then I can do S1 dot register C4, 3. So I'm registering for 1050 and 2360. Those are the courses I'm registering for. And then I want to register for C5. Okay, now let us call the method display enroll courses. So first I register for these 3 classes and then I display and see what happens. Then I can do like drop C1, S1 dot. Is that all I did so far? Let's see. So I did register drop. Okay. And then I want to see, once I drop, I want to see how many courses I am registered for, the student is registered for. Okay. So one by one, we'll take a look. So I'll put some breakpoints so we can see what happens. So S1 dot register C1. Let us see what happens. Now I'm hovering over S1 and I'm opening this object. So I'm going to go all the way to enrollment list. See, it says there are 3 enrollments. When I click on that, and course enrollment, first one is 1050. Second one is 2360. Third one is 2030. So those are the 3 courses I asked for. All those 3 courses got registered. So inside my student record, those courses are showing up and that is what I want. So now I'm going to display the courses to console. Ooh, we got an exception. Let's see. Okay, the mistake is this guy here. Instead of from 0, we have to go from 0. I put like 1 here. That's the reason why. Okay, let's run it one more time. Okay, so let us look at all the displayed courses. So these are the 3 courses, list of courses enrolled by student, and then we got these 3 courses as enrolled. So look at the date. We did not pass any date, so it is taking today's date and adding that, and then this is the status. All 3 are showing as enrolled. So now let's go and say drop C1. If we go in here, majority is done, so we are first creating the enrollment object. Okay. The enrollment makes sense only after you add or remove it to the student list. Otherwise, it is just a orphan object floating in the middle of nowhere. See, we got the enrollment object. Now I am saying remove. So removes the first occurrence of the specific object from the list. So my object has to match what's in the list. As long as that happens, it will remove it. So let's push it through. So now I dropped C1. List of courses now, let's see. Let us take a look at running this as to see why it did not remove. There is a reason why it did not remove. Let me show you why. Like I said before, every single item has to like match absolutely. So let's look at this one, this enrollment. Ooh, I didn't put a breakpoint, that's why. So even if like one property doesn't match, then it will be considered as some new object and then it won't work. So you have to be careful. So let's look at this enrollment. So description null 3. Okay, this is the course information. Okay. So enrollment list should have see how the modality is online. But for this one, let's see, was it there? Okay. Description is null, programming logic. Yeah, well, I can't actually show you the data why, but here is the right way to do it. So if you go into student, anytime you want to remove, first find that object. Instead of doing this, do enrollment.list, sorry, enrollment list dot find. Okay. So you have to first find the element that matches your course. So what are we trying to find? So inside the enrollment list, we have enrollment. So we are going to find, this is called as lambda expression. It is a little confusing. So this can be a variable name, anything you want. So we are saying find and put it in this, find that object, okay? And then for that object, get the course enrolled dot ID. Where is the ID? Should match with my course dot ID. Okay, so this is going to be my, well, this is called as a lambda expression. It's actually supposed to be a simpler way and more intuitive till you get used to it. Initially, it's a little clunky, but then once you get used to it, it's easy. This, what I am saying here, can be anything. It can be E, it can be enroll, it doesn't matter. Okay, as long as you use the same consistent one. So all we are saying is inside this enrollment list, go and find me an object where the object's course enrolled ID is equal to my course's ID. This is all we are saying. Okay, and then if you pass that, it'll remove it. So that is how you remove an entry from a list. Whoops. Ran super fast. So you can see here there are 3 courses enrolled, but then once I remove one course, it became 2 courses. Okay, so that is what has happened right now. So I enrolled in 3 courses and then I dropped C1. Okay, so always remember when you're trying to remove, every single item inside has to match. So the better way of removing an item is by actually searching for it and then using that particular entry to remove it. Okay, so let us just then find how to change the status of an enrollment to pass versus fail. Okay, so here what we can do is there are many ways you can like find an item. So you can say enrollment list dot single or default. So single or default is used to return only one element. Okay, the other one you can use is first or default. These are methods. Okay, so you first or default is basically like when you have like many different items, duplicates, when you have duplicates in your list. Okay, for simplicity, let's just use single or default method. So again, here you will say find, right? It's similar to find. So you're going to say get me the object and then get me the object's course enrolled dot ID should match double equal to my course's ID. Okay, so this gives me that enrollment that matches my course ID. So now this is an object. Okay, now I would just say go and change the status of this to passed. That's it. So let's do one for fail. So again, let me reiterate this. This is a method to go and find one element. When I say one element inside the enrollment list. Enrollment list is made up of enrollment objects. So this statement or this statement will return an enrollment object. Okay. So because I want to change the status, I'm directly changing the status. So I'm just saying this enrollment object dot status, which is the property, is passed. Here I said it's failed. Okay. So let's go and pass a course and fail a course. S1 dot pass C2, S1 dot fail C3. I had the wrong course number here, so I just fixed that. I had C2, C4 or something. That's why it blew up. So these are the courses I'm registering for, and these are the courses I'm going to do. Either fail or pass. So error handling is a totally different ball game. So we are not covering. So at this point, let's just look at. So all we have to like worry about right now is not like worry about the exception handling process. So that's a totally different ball game. So single or default. So we'll just drop the course or pass the course that we already registered for. Okay, so let's run this code now. Sorry about my dog. So I enrolled for these 3 courses. I dropped a course, so it's not in the list. I passed a course, I failed a course. Okay, let's just add one more set of student information. Okay, so if this is another student, we got this two. Okay, so now we have another student, so that person can go and register for a couple other courses. So I just want to show you that it has nothing to do with, the list is separate and it is maintained by each and every. So she can register for C1 also, because we can have multiple students register for the same course. And that's okay. And then the display is for student. So that will just show what the student registered for. We are not sharing the same set of courses. Well, courses are similar, but the enrollment is separate. So you can see here. So this is for one student. This is for. So you can see here student 1. Student 1 is here. We have programming logic, Java and ASP.NET for that student. Then we have the second student here. And then that person is registered for programming logic and web programming. So the first student actually like passed and failed and dropped a course. Second student, we have not done anything related to that. Okay, so just to give you an understanding of like how to use lists, that's the purpose of this particular video. Don't get overwhelmed by this concept. It is just like arrays. It is just a little more fancier and more robust in terms of what we can do with it. So again, just try to remember how we are connecting the different classes we created. So you have to like think in terms of like, any time that you have a purpose to use like multiple objects, a list comes in handy. Okay. And you have to remember, what does the list contain? The list contains a list of enrollment. So enrollment is an object by itself, and then enrollment refers to courses, so on and so forth. Hope this was helpful. Thank you.